All right. You guys are going to have to y'all gotta start paying me. Okay, because I've been holding on to some of these nuggets for a special occasion. I would really appreciate, I will leave my Cash App. I would really appreciate any donations, and it truly helps to refuel me because I want to keep bringing goodness, but I have my own life to build. Okay, so this is what I wanted to give from my time, what I learned through teaching, through personal training, and I'm telling y'all, this was like you'll see about men and women and the dynamics, and it was just so it stood out to me greatly. So I cannot find the words to sum it up, to nutshell it, but I was like, my first client was a guy, and I had two male clients, and then I had a few different female clients while I was training at this one place, and it was only about a year and a half, because I had another girl for a few months later. Actually, it was two. She ended up it was two girls. But the guys that I worked with, what I learned about men from that is that men, and these are men who had money, because her stuff wasn't cheap at the gym. So they were businessmen. So there's that as well. They both had families. They were very serious about their work. But what I learned is that when a man puts down money, when he puts down an investment, he's committed. He's serious about it. And a man is looking like, this was my first time training. I'd done lots of classes and stuff like that, but like I even told that the guy, I was trying to be all professional about it, and I even told him like I'm nervous and stuff, and he was like, you don't need to be nervous and stuff. But they were both I was very, all of the people that I worked with there were really cool, the women and everything and everybody. But the way that things started out, where it was like I set it up and I told him how things were going to go and stuff like that, I think it helped to set up the atmosphere, set up the energy in a way that it was like he felt comfortable, because I was the trainer and I'm a female and he's the dude, and he wasn't like, it wasn't a type of, it wasn't like competitive. He wasn't big into like fitness. I think he had done football, this one guy I'm thinking of. I'm not sure about the other guy. They both had somewhat of an athletic background, but I think that that starting out in that way set it up to where he felt comfortable with me leading in that way, and just kind of he picked up that I like to be like creative and stuff too. And he was like, I remember him saying that. He's like, if you want to have creative freedom with this, like you can kind of tell me how it goes. But it showed me that, because there were other things that they would like ask me questions about and confide in me about. And I would be honest if it was like, because there was like physical therapy related questions and like food. And I was like, this is what worked for me. But like physical therapy, I don't know anything about. Like I've never done, even to this day, I've never done any kind of courses on that. So, but it set up the environment, it set up the energy, it set up the situation in a way that it was like, they knew I was serious about it. And I was very much like, let's get it done, because I was a mom. I had to get back home. I had someone keeping my kid for me. It was hard sometimes because it was so early in the morning. So like there was that too. I was like trying to be awake enough, but, they were awesome, and they stayed with me the whole time. They were super loyal. They were super devoted, and they're only two people. So there's not a very good study, because there need to be more people, but it still showed me so much about men, because they both had that same respect for me. Okay. Another thing was that they were good about showing up. They did cancel sometimes. They were fairly good about telling me ahead of time. One time, the one dude he had some kind of bit, and I can't think of his name. Steve, I think was his name. I don't know if just the first name. he had some kind of business meeting that he had to go to. And I feel like I'm pretty sure I did drive to the gym, because I remember calling him from the gym. So yeah, I drove to the gym, and then either I called him or he called me. And when he didn't show up, and he was like, I'm so sorry, like got caught up with work, or I don't know if it was that, I don't know what it was. And it was like, he was like, let me pay you for this time since you like whatever, and just handled the situation and didn't even have to worry about it or try to reschedule with him. And and because I had to drive there and stuff, and it was just like, it made me feel so good, and it made me feel so respected. It made me feel like that's how to be a man. Like that's how that's how to handle it. And that's just how they came across. And I felt so, it was very empowering to be able to do that, and just to have that respect, and it not be like something that had to be like question. There was no, I mean, it's not, obviously this is a professional relationship, so it's still very different from romantic, but like there's something to be taken from that, and that it shouldn't be a fight between men and women for respect. That's how I felt about it, walking away from it. And another thing that I will say is that I did try to not wear I wear leggings most of the time now when I'm working out, but I did try to be like not, wearing too much revealing clothes or whatever, but I wear, sports tops too to the gym. And I never felt in any way, and I would never want to cross those lines anyway, because it's business, but I never felt like there was any kind of anything weird going on. And I also appreciated that, it was just like, they were just really cool dudes that it was like, just were respectful from the jump. And all the women I worked with were awesome too. But I couldn't help but notice it was like the polarity, the drastic difference in the way that the women would flake on me was just like, it was laughable. It really was laughable, because it was like, and that to me is the feminine. That's the feminine energy trying to like figure it out. Okay, and added to this started out as a mom group. So it's actually interesting that I even had men, because I think both of their wives, I think, took the classes. The gym wasn't when she opened the gym, it was for everybody, but her classes were geared toward women. It was like Fit Mom. So, oh crap, there was a point about that. Because a lot of the women that I worked with were moms. I know one of them specifically wasn't, but I think the rest of them were. So they had things going on that they had to get their kids or whatever. And that's the other thing, is that like, that's usually put on, it's a mix. It just depends on the family. Like dads will definitely try to take those responsibilities sometimes, but like, I just remember that it was like the girls would just flake all the time and like be like, can we reschedule? Or like, like I have to leave early, or just like, just all of that. And it was just like, it was just so funny to me, because especially I think when you become a mom too, because your kids are it's so hard not to put your kids first. So it just stood out to me so much about the difference between men and women, and how I think that when those men were also showing up and like they were committed to that time, it also helped me. I mean, it was early enough in the morning that it was like, unless my kid was sick, there wasn't really a reason for me to not be there, but that also helped me to commit to it. And I think that the more that we can try to understand the difference and the dynamics between men and women and try to work it, I don't want to make it sound like, because I didn't feel like there was any need to not even be manipulative, but try to, what I appreciated about with the men is like, there wasn't a need to try to like work things out. Like it was like, they just made it smooth. It was easy for us to work together. It was easy. There weren't blurred lines. It wasn't a lot of uncomfortable, difficult situations. And it's not that women necessarily do that or I don't think it's conscious at all, but I do think that we can learn a lot from each other and like how to communicate in ways that it's like, okay, as a woman, like my priorities are always going to be my kids. So if my kids are having an issue, if nobody else is there to take care of them, it's on me. So that, like, being able to verbalize that kind of stuff and help each other understand, because men are so different in that they're like, okay, but I invested my time, my money into this at this hour, so I got to be there. I don't know, like men are just more like matter of fact and just like, I already made this investment, like why would I back out and stuff. So there's something, okay, this is the last takeaway that I'm getting from this, is that there's something about that men respect a woman as well. Like, we have to be able to try to understand each other and know that we're different. And yet when a woman, when we just kind of get mad and we're like, why aren't you like me? Why can't you think like me? Why can't you be like me? That's a fight. That's just some gunpowder, like ready for someone to light a match on. Like that's how that feels, as opposed to it being like, okay, how can we figure out a way to communicate so that my needs are still met, so that I feel respected, so that I feel safe, so that I feel like my role, my place in this life, my place as mom, whatever is respected in the way that, and that I'm able to do my job, because that's how it feels as a mom. Is it's like, it's beautiful and it's wonderful if you have a tribe that can like take care of those needs for you, but if not, it always falls on mom. Like literally the world sets it up that way. And I don't know, if you're a mom, you get it. And if you're not, if you're a dad who really wants to be a dad and has put yourself in that role, and then the world will probably follow that. The universe will probably follow that, and you'll know what that pressure feels like. But dad's priorities might be more like being the provider, making sure the money's good, making sure he's showing up where he's supposed to be, and like crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Like it's just different. So, but like there's something where when a woman can communicate more like a man, or like be more upfront about what's going on, or what her needs are, or how she operates, then a man can just like follow suit and respect that. And it always comes back to respect, but it's hard when we're so different. And yet a woman is always going to want to be like abundant, because there's always a demand for a woman to find that abundance. She's always expected to be that. She's always expected to show up looking a certain way, having the right energy, like ready to handle some bullshit or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, there's this knowing that you are the abundance in the world. And so she doesn't want to feel like she's taken advantage of all the time or taken for granted because of that. But a man doesn't want to feel unappreciated because what he does goes under the radar. I wish there was more that was coming to me about that, because it's like in a relationship, it's not like it's a business deal, but there are parts of it that are, because it's like a man is expected to be the provider. So in some ways, I feel like, although it seems like business deal, if it feels businessy, I do think that like communicating that way sometimes helps, because it's like a man might be showing up to a situation being like, okay, well, I'm expected to provide, I'm expected to do this, and then but without the woman like giving gratitude or saying like, I love it when we go to this place and you just spoil me, just like, I don't know, like finding a way to be like, this makes me like excited, and it brings it, because a woman, there's that too, that like when we can have our cup filled, even like sometimes like in a surprise kind of way where we're like not expecting it, because then you're just, then you can just amplify it for the next time, or amplify it for to pour into the next thing. So it's still trying to figure out how to work it out because all of us are individuals too and we're different. But kind of putting things on the table, putting things on the table, like, because I'm thinking about that with the training, and I'm like, I kind of put the expectations down, we mapped things out, kind of like an outline, but then things could flow. That's the point. Then my feminine could just feel safe to do her thing in that situation, because the men knew what to expect. They knew what they were getting into. They knew how much money they had put into it and stuff. So okay, that's enough. It's 15:15.